Hello, everyone. So today we have Isaiah, and I wanted to bring Isaiah on because he's doing really awesome stuff, and I wanted to share that with everyone that is watching these videos. I think it's really valuable because it just shows you, like, hey, like Isaiah's an average guy. He's not anybody special, but you know, and he's gonna tell a story in a second. But just to add that value to people and show like people for the average person, it is possible to create things and change things and have a better life. So welcome, Isaiah.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, about me being an average guy, I'm very like I grew up in a more ghetto area in Germany, in
Mm,
like a city, and it was poverty all around me, and basically we always had like lack of money, and my parents, like my mom, she's coming from a business owner family. However, she really hated business. Like she, everything that was related to business, she didn't want to have any say about it.
mm,
And it's like she had implanted all those thoughts in my mind of like all business people are evil, money is bad, and salespeople are scammers and all these things. So that's what I had to work with, you know?
mm,
So I started like my journey with like selling when I was a photographer because I when I left school I was a photographer and I wanted to become the most successful fashion photographer in town. And I was doing so many photo shoots like crazy, and I would offer my photo shoots for free to everybody. Everybody would be like, Isaiah, great photos. Like, can you do shoots for me? And I would be like, yeah, of course, yeah, let's do it. But at some point, I noticed, okay, actually, people also offer me money for that. I didn't really have to sell it. I just uploaded pictures to Instagram, which made people come to me and ask me like, hey, can you do it for me too?
mm,
But at the time, I didn't have really a lot of self-esteem, so I always felt super uncomfortable taking money from people, like accepting it. And I would also end up like doing a lot of the work for free. So
mm,
a bit like 1 year later, I started like really seriously working with like modeling agencies and everything, and I wanted to be hired by them as their like go-to photographer. And I was going through a whole list of like people that I want to contact, and I was like chatting here and there. And it ended up me going to Czech Republic, which is like the country next to Germany.
mm.
So I literally took the bus to the next country to go do a shooting there. I felt like I was reading a book about how to negotiate. I was like, okay, let's find out how that works. Turned out it didn't happen much.
Mm.
It was like I was there and I was like trying to get a deal, but I felt so uncomfortable and I was like, I want 160 euros. Well, euros is about the same as dollars, which is
Mm,
actually not that much, considered also like the fees or the money that I have to invest to actually get there and stay there.
mm,
I'm actually making minus. Like I'm not making money there. I'm losing money when I do this. But I
mm,
was like, hey, let's do it. Like the modeling agency is super cool. So I made that deal with them. We had a handshake and they're like, yeah, let's do it next week. So I went home. I came back next week with all my equipment and everything. I even rented stuff. Like I went to the rental. I spent my own money that I didn't have because I
mm.
just finished school. And I was just like, let's get the best gear and let's do the shooting. So I ended up in Czech Republic. Nobody was at the location. And I was like,
Uh,
I called them. I'm like, hey guys, I'm there. Are you like also there or? And then they didn't take the phone. Then I called them again, and it's like, yeah, Isaiah, um, we were thinking about it. It's a bit too expensive. And I was standing there. I was like, too expensive? And I was so angry. I was like, you fuckers, I lose money because of you. I did this. Blah, 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 blah. I was so angry. I didn't want to take photos anymore. I was like, fuck this business stuff. I don't want this anymore. It ended up in me not taking photos for a whole year. Like literally, I put the camera away. I just found a job and I was like, I'm not gonna do this shit again.
right.
So then I lost like it frustrated me to that point that I lost like the whole passion into it because I was like this whole business and money, I don't like this whole thing. And a bit later I was talking to my brother and he was like, Isaiah, like you understand that you're frustrated, but they were just like negotiating and you were just not good at it. I was like, what's negotiating? He was like, yeah, I mean like you just like that's how you do it. And I was like, really? Oh shit. Damn, I didn't know that. So I started picking up the camera. It was like a process where a few of my friends like guided me to. And then I started like focusing on, okay, how can I get actually some clients? Because like I'm out of school. I've been out of school for a year now. Um, I don't really want to do a job because I always felt like I'm in a prison whenever I go to like a normal job.
Yep.
So I only had the option of being a freelancer and like doing this photography business. So it led to me having to necessarily sell myself, which was incredibly painful. Like it was so uncomfortable. It was the worst thing I could have imagined. And then like always having to ask people, feeling super guilty for every euro that I would make. And I was always broke. Like, I was in my mom's room. I was sitting there and I was always buying new photography gear. And she was always like, I say, why are you spending so much money? I was like, fuck you, leave me alone. You know. Yeah, it was it was hilarious. So this thing went on and on and on, and my mom was super like stressed about like me
Yeah.
making money this constantly, and like yeah, and I was like trying to build my ego based on like yeah, some people give me money for that, and like people tell me I take great photos, but like there wasn't really any relevant point. So this went on for like 2 years, and then I moved to Berlin because I was like, okay, like on the artist side, I've outsourced everything there is to get in my hometown because it's a small town. So let's go to the capital. I
Mm.
went to the capital. I wanted to work with all the big agencies and everything. I had like my vision. And then I noticed,
How old were you during like this timeline?
when I moved to Berlin, I was 22.
Mm.
Yeah, like it was quite late. But in the meantime, I've been like starting to make some money. Like it was always enough so that I can pay the things that I need to pay, but
Mm.
that's about it. It was like nothing crazy. Like it was just literally survival. Like it was like
Mhm.
I had the euros in my hand, I would put it into my mouth and it would be gone.
Mm.
And then I would also be super depressed at the time, and that's a whole different story. But it's like when I went to Berlin, I was like starting to do like cold acquisitions over Instagram DMs because I was too afraid to talk to people. So I would just like text everybody. I would be like, "Hey, do you guys need photos? I'm a photographer. I
Mm,
have
yeah.
a good price."
Yeah.
But it actually, because the law of numbers, it actually made me some clients. Like I had to send a whole bunch of like messages, but it actually made me make enough money so that I can actually pay a flat share in Berlin and like install myself there. But it was nothing like really sustainable because it would be a lot of work, and at the same time I wouldn't really make any money. So at the same time I was more and more getting into this like watching 𝚢𝚘𝚒𝚒𝚗𝚍 and all these people on YouTube, and I was like, I need to do more of what they're doing. So I started like connecting more with like salespeople, and they were actually introducing me to the world of sales. And I'd be like, really? And I met a guy that was like claiming himself to be the master salesperson. He would be like, yeah, I can sell everything to everybody. Like, these guys, they're like, I'm a sales guy, I can sell anything to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're actually not that great. They're just like showing off. But
Right.
at the time, I was like, whoa, he's so cool. I want to do that stuff too. Like, can you give me a job? So he got me into the company that he was working in, and I started selling hair transplantation.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, yeah. Like I was the guy on the phone that had no clue, and I was like, yeah, guys, let's send you guys to Turkey, Istanbul, to get your hair transplantation done so that you can come back and then you have full hair. And it was super cool because um I've always been like an extroverted person because it's just the way I've been growing up. Like
Right.
I grew up like with a single mom and like three siblings.
Mhm.
There was no like not that much room for attention, so I was just always like having to rely on my social skills in order to find people.
Mm.
So it made me really go into like this part of my personality where I would talk to people and we'd be like super positive and happy. And I didn't know how to sell, but I was just so positive that everybody was like, yeah, I want to buy from this guy. So I had like within 2 weeks, I had like I was promoted from being a setter to from being an opener to being like a closer and
Mhm.
doing like the consultations. And like the first 2 months were pretty good. I had like pretty good numbers, like company-wise also was one of the best of the especially newbies. But then after like 2 months, I had a crash because like all of a sudden, all of my positive energy was gone. I was just feeling drained and like
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the actual work started coming in. Like the beginner's luck was gone, and now the actual thing started happening. And
Hmm.
then I started becoming super drained, and I had a lot of pressure. And my boss was like, Isaiah, do you want to come on Saturday too? And I was like, I don't want to come on Saturday. I just want to get some rest. Like, give me a break, please. And it would go on like this, and I would like so stress myself because I was afraid. Like all of a sudden, like I had to keep my job. Um, and this went on like for 2 months, and after 2 months, I made myself be fired because like I couldn't deal with the pressure anymore. I had like struggle sleeping. I was having nightmares of like the people I sold. I was feeling pressure that I would need to sell minors and everything, and I would be like, I don't want to sell like 18-year-olds on getting a hair transplantation, even though they're not even fully grown. Like, no, I don't want to do it. But my sales manager was like, Isaiah, like tell the people, like, give us the energy. And I would be like, I don't want to do that. So I made myself leave. And then I was like, okay, I kind of understand now how the sales thing works.
Mhm.
Because I was like, when I was into it, I was like really studying and I was like reading Wolf of Wall Street, like getting into the books and trying all these techniques and everything. Um, and then I was like, okay, like I know how to take photos. I know kind of how the sales things work now, so I can actually go make my own clients, which was super cool because it made me go build my own agency. Like at the time, I like shifted more towards taking videos also and doing social media packages and everything.
Right.
And it was super great because it was the thing that made me get the money for Techniture. Because
Mm,
at the time I was like building my business. I also had a girlfriend and she was coming from like a more wealthy family
mm,
back in Tunisia and she was like pushing me constantly. So I had a lot of fear to make a lot of cash. So this was the thing that gave me a lot of drive to actually do cold calls and call people.
mm,
But whenever I would do cold calls, I was so stressed. Like I had so much anxiety. I had a huge drive for sex. Like I wanted to have sex all the time to like suppress everything. I was like, I need sex. So basically, my girlfriend at the time she didn't like it, obviously.
oh,
So and I was like very like the more this journey went on, I started making money. I had a month where I would like have like 2 or 3 customers that would give me like 3 to 4 thousand euros, which was super cool because all of a sudden I had like 10K. I was like, whoa, I made 10K. Like nobody in my family ever made that money. But it's like when the responsibility with the 10K came in and like all the programs activated with having that money, I started sabotaging myself like crazy. You're like, you don't even know. Like I was like this and then I
yeah,
crashed.
right.
But I crashed so badly. I didn't want to talk to anybody anymore. I was like fighting with my ex-girlfriend all the time. I was super angry. Like I was as angry as when I was a child.
Yeah.
Um, I would always go to the forest because I didn't want to talk to anybody, and it would keep on going. And at the same time, I was talking to my friend Boris, who I knew from school, who
Mm,
already had been a technical distributor. And he
mm.
was like, yeah, what's your purpose? Like, you're making money, but like, what's your purpose? Like, you need stability. And I was like, what does it even mean? Like, stability. So I was like I was calling Boris more and more because I've been seeing the transformation that Boris has been doing. Because I remember him being really like emotionally unstable, very suppressed, not like very reflected. Not like he wasn't really the thinker. He was more like the person that would just like play video games and like pretend everything's fine. And all of a sudden, I haven't seen him in 2 years. He started working in fiber, whatever the name is, like the internet, like door to
Fiber
door.
optics.
Exactly, fiber optics. And he was making 10K a month. And I was like, and then he was telling me all the stuff and like summarizing all my thoughts. And I would be like, I am writing every day in my journal to understand myself better. And this guy gives me the answers that I'm always looking for. And I'm like, what happened to him? You know? And
Mm,
this whole journey went on and I had a bunch of doubt. Like, I'm so grateful that Boris took so much time to sell me because this whole process of actually like him introducing me to Techniture and me buying it took like 10 months or something. And I
mm.
would throw all my objections. I would be like, I want to understand how this works. Like, I'm afraid of being manipulated. Are you guys in a cult? Blah, 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 blah. And all these things. And
Yeah.
I would always like find new dirt and throw it in his way. And Boris would be like, and at some point, like the relationship with my ex-girlfriend, it would become so bad, and I would be like I can't, like I don't want to leave her because I love her so much. I was so in love. Like I was crazy in love.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like I hate this girl. I can't be with her anymore. Hold on 1 second. So yeah, this was like a whole process. So Boris started also introducing me to DIP, and he was like, "Man," like he was asking me this question, like, "Where do your thoughts and your emotions come from?" And I was like, "Guy, leave me the fuck alone with this question. Like, what do you want from me?" And he kept asking the question, like, "What's your purpose? Where do your emotions and your thoughts come from?" And I'd be like, "I have no idea." So, to be honest, I didn't really understand Technotutor when I bought it because at some point, like my relationship became more and more unstable because the 10K that I've been making in August, after that, I haven't been making any money except for like one client.
Mm,
So I was like running out of money and I was super stressed about it. And I
mm,
wanted to also reinvest the money into like coaching so that I can learn more because I was already at the point of like I need to educate myself, like I need to learn more skills. And my ex-girlfriend, because she comes from a bougie family, she was like, "No, we're always working. You're always so serious. You're so German. Like, why don't we go to a hotel and a luxury resort and all these things?" And I was like, "Ah, fuck you. I don't want to spend my money on that. I want to like do my work." So there was a whole bunch of conflict, and we were fighting every day. At some point, I was just breaking up with her because I was like, at the time, I felt like I made the right step, but I was just afraid. Like, honestly, like now, I was just terrified. Like, I was so terrified that she would leave me because of also like the way I grew up. Like, my parents divorced when I was like a bit younger. So I had like this massive pain, like this deep wound of like being actually left. And I always felt like I'm not good enough. And like this whole bunch of like this fear of being left and the depression
Yeah.
and the stress and the pressure, it all kicked in and it like pressed down on me over months. So after I broke up, I was completely broken. I was like, okay, like it can't get any worse than that.
Yeah.
Fortunately, at the time I had like 3, 4 thousand euros left. So I was like, Boris, let's start Technotour. Like, I don't know what it is, let's just start it.
Mm,
So Boris was at the time in Texas at the TT distributor reunion. Like he
yeah.
was sitting at the campfire, he was talking to Cam, he was like, Cam, 1 second, I need to take care of Isaiah. And then they left and he sent me Technotour. I was like, yes.
Right.
And I remember because I was also living with my ex-girlfriend, I had no place to stay in Berlin. Like everybody that lives in bigger cities knows the struggle of like finding apartments and everything, right?
Mm.
So um, I was sleeping on my brother's couch in his like flat share, and it was like it was nothing good. At the same time, I also had like some tax issues incoming and everything. So all of the shit that I was afraid of would actually come my way. And but I had TT, and I didn't know how it worked, but I was just like, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. And I started like working with the list. I started like integrating the vocabulary, like the
So
alphabet. Yeah.
yeah, so like, what was the thing that prompted you to make that decision? Like, because you mentioned that Boris was the one that shared it with you, and he continued to share it with you persistently, and then things started to sort of crash down a little bit. What was like the thought process in terms of like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go to Boris instead of him coming to
Mm.
me all the time, and I'm gonna finally make the decision.
Mm. So basically, it was Boris' transformation because
Mm.
Boris had such a certainty and clarity that I wasn't used because I have known him. We have been very good friends prior to that. Like we
Hmm.
just haven't been talking for like 1 or 2 years, like just very unfrequently. But like I've just seen the change that he's been
Right.
having. The two things that stopped me from buying Techniture was on the one hand side like a lot of doubt, like a lot of self-doubt because I wasn't like really trusting myself. And
Mm.
also, my ex-girlfriend was like, "You don't need this. Like, why would you spend your money on something like that? Boris, he just wants to scam you, blah, 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 blah." So she made me like postpone the buying decision. And at the
Mm.
same time, I didn't have money. So Boris was pushing the point. And I was like, "Hey, I don't have money, man. Like, if I spend my money now, I'm completely broke. Like, I can't afford it." But like after I broke up with her, like my pain was bigger. So I was like, let's just buy this. Like, okay, like
Right.
it can't get like I'm already homeless. It can't get any worse than that. Like that, you know. And it was really amazing. But even when I started Techniture, it was really bizarre because on the one hand side, um, I know myself from having breakups because I've been into way too many relationships prior to that. And I've been like always going through the same cycle. And I was seeing
Mm.
the pattern, but not enough to change it. And
Mm.
also I was lacking the natural learning ability to change it. So
Mm.
because like the way it has been programmed, it was already fixed within me. So I could see the pattern, but I couldn't do anything about it.
Mm.
And I knew myself how I was in like breakups, and usually I would be like super depressed and like hope that she would come back for months. Then I would be like getting out, trying to find a new girl so that I can replace her, and but still feel wounded and like cry about it for a whole fucking year. Like that was the process that I was always going through. And while I was using it, like after 3 weeks, I was like, it's not that bad actually. Like it was still painful, but actually I don't need to do that. Like it became super clear. I was like, hold on. Usually I don't have that. What's something different? And I was like, but because I was doing like basics like crazy, I was like doing the technical basics a
Mm.
lot. Remember, like I still have the record of it.
Mm.
Like I remember like 19th of November 2023, 044 to 135 technical basics. I was like doing it every day, bam, 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 bam. Even my brother, he was like, Isaiah, shouldn't you just like do stuff instead of like doing technical? No, no, it's gonna save me. It's gonna save me. And it ended up like helping me. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I still had doubt. I still was like in this point of like, yeah, but what if I'm being manipulated and am I not entering like a call? But it feels so good. And like it was a conflict that went on for like 6 months. But
Mm.
at the same time, I was so crazy about Technitude. I was telling everybody about it. I was like, dude, you need to get Technitude. I was like, people stopped being friends with me because I was telling them to get Technitude. Like literally. So that was the whole thing. And Boris was the one, he was like, you should become an LD. You should become a licensed distributor. And I was like,
Mm.
I'm never going to sell anything that I don't know how it works.
Mm.
So because it was just like the programming that I had, like I didn't trust myself to actually become a salesperson. So, and I wasn't at the time. I really honestly wasn't. I just was working within this one specific role because I had a lot of like extroverty, but like I wasn't a really good salesperson. I didn't understand how sales work. I just learned it very recently, actually. So at some point, I was like, okay, I want to become a distributor. And because I was sitting in a cafe with a client, like a social media client, and it was also a friend of mine, and he was like, man, Isaiah, it's a bit too expensive. And I was like, oh, this fucker, I don't even want to handle this objection. I just, and I was like, nah, man, fuck you. I don't want to work with you anymore. Like, don't bug me. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I need the money, but I don't give a fuck. Leave me alone? So I paid the coffee, I left. And when I left the restaurant, I saw um, a friend of mine that was working as a chef in this restaurant, like an
Mm.
assistant, like not a proper chef, like was like a trash job, like a not that good job.
Mhm.
Um, and he's the guy, he's always in debt and like always like smoking weed and dancing and like life is very hard for him. Life is like really hard for him. And I was looking at him, I was like, oh man, if only he had tech nuclear, he wouldn't be in this situation. And I
Mhm.
was like, dude, like I have this thing, like if you have some money, you should get it. Like it's really good. And I started telling him about it. He was like, oh, this sounds interesting. And I was like, oh yeah, he needs tech nuclear. Like he can't even see what's the problem. So afterwards, I went home. I called Boris. I was like, Boris, I need to become an LD. Like everybody needs tech material. That's how I become an LD. And
Mm.
like 2 months later, I brought up the money for the deposit, and I made like the lowest financing plan there is because I didn't have any money. So I had two financing going on. Like I had the technical
Mhm.
financing going on the LD financing. And like
Right.
like honestly, it's worth every penny, but at the same time, when you're broke, it's stress. It's
Yeah.
a struggle. So then then I was working on a sales job and I started applying for new sales job because I was like, I need to learn how sales work. But I had this, like, I wasn't really making any sales at the time. And also I was like, more of the patterns that I was not able to see prior to that came up.
Mm.
And like, I was going through points and I was like partly very unstable. And it made me also like I had a lot of fear also of being fired and not being able to perform. So I had the sales job for like 2, 3 months. At some point, I left Berlin because also like on other aspects, like private aspects, it became more difficult and also finding a new apartment and all these things. So everything was super stressful. So I was crying. I called Boris. I was like, man, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, can I come to you guys? And he was like, yeah, sure, you can sleep on our couch. So I moved from Berlin to Frankfurt, which is like the middle of Germany.
Mm.
Um, and I slept on Boris' couch. And like then I met a new guy, Omar, he's also a distributor, and he was also there, like he just started out, and Arthur, and they were all living together. And there was a different guy, but he left at some point. Um, and I was like the fifth guy, and then a sixth guy came, and then we were like six guys in this cool apartment, and everybody was like doing TT, and we were like talking about pros, and it was so cool, you know.
Yeah.
So um, this helped me like get started. But when I came here, I was still like I started. The more I started using Technotutor, the more I saw things more clearly. But at the same time, my problems wouldn't just go away like that. Like I still
Mhm.
had a lot of like the depression and all these issues that I had with my self-esteem and a lot of unclarity. Um, and it was like after like 3, 4 months, but I started seeing things more clearly. I was introduced to self-forgiveness, like equal of destiny, all these things, like all these tools that we have in
Yeah.
our network. And it made me, but the thing that actually changed, the process that I was going, it made me stabilize myself over a couple of months.
Hmm.
After some time, I found a job. Then I could actually pay the rent. I could finance going to Miami. I could finance the technical payments that I had going on. Like I didn't have to rely on the government anymore to like supply, entertain myself or to sustain myself.
Yeah.
And then also I could get my own place. Like I just moved next door. And then things started like getting better. And it was like 3 or 4 months after I came to Frankfurt. And that's also the time when I started like going into door knocking. I was like, okay, I need to try this door knocking because everybody was talking about it. And Boris and the guys, they have been doing it already with fiber optics. So they've been knowing about it already. And I was like, oh, like, how do I, like, I don't want to do this. Like, no, like, leave me alone. But my ego at the same time was like, all the other guys are doing it. Like, I can't be the one that's not doing it, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So, um, I remember like it was like maybe June, July. It was like around the time when the Miami self-perfected event was. I started going out, and I remember I put on like a thrifted secondhand suit, you know, like it was really. Like I put on a tie. I would go onto my electric scooter. I would drive to the neighborhood, and I would put on down my scooter and walk and walk and walk, and would be like, okay, let's let's knock on the door. Let's knock on the door. And I would walk and I walk, and like the sweat in my armpits, it would like go all the way down. It would be like, oh my God, I'm so stressed. Like I have to, oh my God. Like I have this memory so vivid in my mind. It was so terrifying.
Yeah.
And like it ended up in me like walking for like 45 minutes until I came to the end of my village. And I was like, okay, like okay, I say, like you need to go, you need to do something. Like you can't just go home and like not do it. So I
Right.
went to the first store and I was like, ding, ding. Um, hi, techno tutor. Do you have kids? And the guy was, I don't have kids. Have a great day. He was really nice, fortunately for me, huh?
Yeah.
And I was like, thanks, bye, ciao. Then I was like, oh my God, this was so stressful. I went to the next door. I was like, do you have kids? And he was like, who are you, man? Like, bam, go. And this, I did like 3 or 4 doors, and then I went home. I was like, guys, I knocked on 3 doors. And everybody was like, yeah, you go, Isaiah. Like I didn't get anything done, but it was just like it wasn't like a massive success for me because I was so
Mhm.
terrified.
Right.
And the process that I've been doing over the last months was just like me going to this extreme fear and then going home, putting all the things to my TT, like into my technical, and doing self-forgiveness on like trying to understand the fear and like letting go of it.
Yes.
Then I would like go out again. The second time I went, I hopped on my scooter. It started raining. I was hiding under the bush in front of the house. I was looking at the house for like 10 minutes and then I left. And I was like, how can I make money with this thing? Like it's impossible. Like I'm never gonna make a sale. And and then this whole process like started unfolding, and like the first 2 months were just extremely painful and terrifying, honestly. Like I was so stressed and I was so afraid, and I have so much stomach pain and all these things. But I
Mm.
was like, I need to make this work. Like, and I also was at the time like networking, but even with networking, I had so much anxiety
Yeah.
because I still did have to do the pitch. And like part of the pitch is like, hey, I work with a company that creates financial freedom through education. And I would feel like a fucking scammer because I was so broke. I was like, how can I say this? Like this is never gonna work. So yeah, there was just like a whole bunch of doubts and fears. And the thing with TT is TT shows you like
Mm.
the more you start using working with Technotutor, the more you start seeing these things.
Mm.
And it might sometimes feel a bit stressful, but actually it's a good thing because when you can see it, you can change it.
Yep.
But
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe
If you can't see it, obviously you can't change it. Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I wasn't used to seeing the things because I was used to seeing the same patterns as I would always see. So it was different. And I was always going into this like extreme reaction of like, oh my God, like I have this pattern, now I'm gonna die.
Right.
But I somehow managed to get through it and I got better through it. And like after going through the cycle for like 6 months, at some point I was like, I can stop thinking about dying. Like I'm okay. Like I've look where I was homeless when I started. Now I'm making some money. Like I found a better job. Like whenever I would apply for like regular system jobs, I would actually get really good jobs because I knew how to sell myself all of a sudden.
Hmm.
Like and I started like developing like this certainty, like this security within me, like this stability that nobody could take away from me and that
Hmm.
would actually attract people. So like whenever people would see me, they would be like, something about this guy. And I would be like, yeah, technical tutor.
Right.
And I would feel like so overconfident, but at the same time also have a lot of anxiety. But
Yeah.
it was just within me. People didn't really see that.
Right.
So I was just projecting that anxiety onto everybody. And this was the process I was going through. So then I dropped door knocking for a while. And I don't know what I've been doing, but at the same time I was also like getting into like relationship topics because I was like, I want to have a relationship. I need to find a girlfriend. And then I was picking up all this chaos, and because that's a whole different story, like there's a lot of stuff to work with,
Yeah.
which I'm also currently facing, but I'm like stabilizing more and more. Like I'm way more clear in what I want to do, what I want to have, what I allow in my life, and all these things. So the people that I attract are different than they used to be.
Hmm.
And I get more respect from people, also from women, and like I attract different women. So I see even the relationship process is getting better and better,
Hmm.
even though I haven't been putting all my priority onto it.
Hmm.
Because after that, I went through another heartbreak and all these things. And I was like, okay, like I'm still broke. Like, yeah, I have TT and I'm like studying all the Destiny material, but I'm like always chilling at home and I'm not really doing much. And at the same time, I was getting a lot of support, like from Cameron, Avery. I was even talking to you every now and then. Um, and it was just super helpful because I've been in the points where I was not stable and where I was weak, I had the whole community to rely on. And I knew I could trust it, I can trust the people even though I don't know them because they stand with principle.
Yeah.
So this was the thing that actually supported me because I was reaching out a lot. I was talking to everybody. I was like, hey, can you help me? Blah. And I was like crying and telling everybody about all my bullshit. But it helped me to like get the points more clear, helped me to see what I need to put into my technical so that I can keep progressing and all these things. And like this whole process, after the second breakup, it made me like fully focus on my business because I was developing the clarity of like, if I keep doing the same things, I'm never going to be successful. Like I need to put in the work. And that's when I started committing myself. I started like putting in the work. I started knocking more frequently. I started doing more presentation through door knocking. And like facing whenever you knock doors, like all the fears come up, then you can put them into your TT, you can work with them and make them make sense. And
Hmm.
if you keep doing that over an extended period of time, at some point you don't have the fear anymore. At some point, the things that make you scared become your strengths. And
Hmm.
that's when you actually become stable. And that's when you can handle more stuff. And I was seeing this for myself, how also the stability that I was like getting from like facing my fears and door knocking, how they would apply in all areas of life.
Yeah.
Like how it how to networking and like different types of people start talking to me. They're like, hey, like you seem like you really have been doing business for a while. I was like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, but apparently it looks like it. So yeah, this was like the whole process that has been going on. So this and it's still going on.
Hmm.
And it's like now, especially like the last months, I've been getting more focused on like thinking less and doing more stuff and just like doing my TT and my self-forgiveness in the morning and then just like go out in the world and do stuff and sell more. And the more I would sell, the more I would actually become more confident and more clear on what I need to do next. And also this like dragging depression because I was like honestly, I had such a massive like cloud of depression over me. It started becoming less heavy.
Hmm.
And like it still comes up every now and then, but I can just like manage it and redirect it and put it away. And not in the point of like put it into a box, but like let it go for the moment and then keep working with it. And the more I do this process, the less depressed I am, and the more I can actually like attract people, build a network, build our clubhouses, support people. Like a lot of people come to me and ask me for support. Like, hey, Isaiah, like I have this and this issue. Like, what's like, can you help me with that? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, let's talk. And all these things, like doing technically the daily, doing self-forgiveness daily, and listening to Equov, like the Destiny material, and like building the understanding of how my mind works, it made me see more things. It made me become more stable. And like this process, like summarized over an extended periods of months, made me come to the point where I am today.
Mm,
So I made my first official sale in May. And I started noticing how sales actually work because I stopped being, because I was always a people pleaser, because I was so scared. And
mm.
at this time, I was like, fuck the people pleasing. Like, I'm so tired of this shit. So I stopped doing it. And I was like, man, if you keep doing this shit, you're gonna fucking abuse your daughter and you're gonna suffer. And he was like, oh shit. Like, how much is Technitier? I was like, yeah, now we're talking. So, and then I called everyone. I was like, Avery, he just bought Technitier. And it was my first sale after 1 year. After 1 year of going through this whole trial and error thing and like going through depression and like ups and downs and trying to build stability and all these things, I made my first sale, and everyone was like, "Yeah, congratulations, you found out how sales works. It's not that easy, not that difficult." And I
Yeah,
was like, "Actually, it's not that difficult if you have the vocabulary. Like,
right.
if you understand how it works, if you have the education on how sales work, it's not that difficult. And
Mm,
also, if you have a certain like stability that you're not that scared, which
mm,
you can get through using Techniture. So, also, I was like doing a lot of like sales training, the Jeremy Miner, especially like how to ask proper questions and all these things, how to tell great stories, all the things that Avery and Cameron would say, I would put them into Techniture, into like short statements and like integrate them so that they become part of my thinking. And
mhm,
I noticed at some point, the more I would like do this, whenever like the negative thoughts would come up, there would also come a thought that I would put into Techniture that would like neutralize it. Like
mm,
for example, um, like Avery always says, if I fear it, I must do it.
mhm,
I'm like, I don't want to go out. I'm so afraid. And then at the same time, the thought comes up like, if I fear it, I must do it. Okay, fuck it, let's do it.
mhm,
Which was super cool, which supported me a lot also. So I'm like working with like also statements and like things that I want, where I want myself to go to that I put into Techniture so that I can make them work eventually.
mhm,
Um, then in May, I had my first sale and I had to go through all the process of like, okay, now I have this responsibility. Like I need him to have success. Like I don't want to like have him be disappointed. So I was like focusing on supporting him and like dealing with all these fears, which helped me also stabilize a lot because there was new things coming up. I could put them into Techniture and I could work with them, which led to me going then to do my second sale, which was a woman that I met from networking. She was, and she's a businesswoman. Like she was way ahead of me, actually, like
mhm.
from her knowledge and her understanding of things, her clarity. But she was so impressed by me because she was like, I've never seen a 25-year-old black dude like you. Wow. And just through all the things that I've learned through doing self-forgiveness, studying the Destiny material, doing Techniture, I managed to sell myself to this person so that despite all the doubts, because she was always like, yeah, like Isaiah, I love you, you're so cool, but like, why would I use this machine? Despite all of that, I managed to sell her
Mhm,
because the person that I've started to become
mhm,
actually saw her. Like I could show her the journey that I've been going, and she was like, "Wow, I need this for my sons and for my husband." And
mhm,
now she's in the process too. So in June, I made another sale,
mhm.
and then I was like, "Okay, like this thing works. Like let's
Yeah.
go." And at the same time, I was also working in the school, like doing I was doing an assistant job in a school, working with like disabled kids
Mm,
to pay the bills and everything. Um, and I was like doing TT with them. Like I was
mm.
like infiltrating the whole system. I was like, yeah, like these people are about to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I was like doing technical with like my with an autistic boy that was having a severe emotional instability, and he was that unstable that he would always throw tantrums when his mind would be too cluttered. So it ended up in him only being allowed to go to school from 8 to 9:30.
Mm.
like 1.5 hours. And then he would be sent home because the teachers wouldn't want to deal with him anymore. And they were so overwhelmed. So that's why they hired me, because I was like then like selling myself into this journey of like I'm a professional, blah 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 blah, but I actually had no clue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I just had the confidence from like the sales process and TT. So I was just like selling myself and telling stories. And the guy was like, "You don't have the education, but I love you. Let's do this." So I started doing technical also for my boy, and he stabilized. And we didn't even do the full process. Like we just did it halfway. Like we didn't do the full of how it's supposed to be done. Actually, he was just watching it. He was not even proactively doing it. But he stabilized so fast. Like he managed to stay until 1 p.m. And then he started becoming more and more social. He had two tantrums in the whole time. And it was very light tantrums, like he could calm himself down, regulate himself, go for a walk, and then it would be good. And I was like start doing writings with him, like very short writings because he's still like a young boy and everything.
Mm.
And but it was just like me learning of how to do technically with him daily. So this gave me a lot of confidence also because it was like, whoa, within 3 months, I managed to completely change this boy, and I've been able to do something that all the experts in the system were not having any fucking clue about.
Yeah.
Like everybody in school was looking at me like, who is this new guy? Like, what is he doing? Like, how has he done that? Like, is he a magician? I was be like, I wasn't telling anything about technique. I was like, yeah. But actually, in my mind, it was very simple because it was like, I'm just doing TT with him, you know? So,
What's pretty cool, what's really cool about the young, like really young people, like kids like that, you're literally changing the trajectory of their entire life. Like it's one thing for an adult to like, like be living life, have jobs and have a relationship, and then you're able to change their life like you said with yours. But then it's like it's a really cool, special thing that like really touches you when you
absolutely,
can like
yeah.
take like a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old and like you can clearly see they're going down this path that's not going to be good for them, and but then you're like you're able to show them the tool, use the tool with them, and then it's like whoa, they're going over here, like they're going to do well, so it's cool.
Yeah, also especially like this whole process because nobody is used to seeing him like that. His parents were like starting to really appreciate me. Like they don't want to let me go. Like I'm like in the process of actually selling them technically so I can leave them alone. But they're
Yeah.
like, Isaiah, don't leave us. You're the chance of one. I was like, guys, like I'm pretty flattered, but I need to do more job, you know? Like I
Right,
can't
yeah.
only with you guys.
Right, right, right.
But just by technically doing like it's gonna be fine. Um, so this is like also like it's a certain sale. I know they're gonna buy Techno within the next weeks. It's just because they see the value, because they're like, we've been going to the psychiatrist, we've been like putting him on drugs, we've been like he's been diagnosed with autism, we've been putting him into like a school with like experts, like what's the like education experts on like disabled kids. But when I
Mm.
went there, I was like, these people have no fucking clue. Like I was watching them, I was like, they have no idea what they're doing. They're just pretending to be experts. And like even the teachers, they were like feeling intimidated by me because I would like come with the dominance and the like the expertise and like the confidence because I was like, of course he's gonna be stable if he uses technical. Because I had this like way of like it was so obvious for me that his solution is technical. Which like also led to me having conflicts with the staff, but at some point they like started respecting me, and even though it was not allowed officially, I was able to like do TT with the whole class. So this is the whole process, it was super cool. And then I could use these stories to go to the door and sell and get all of a sudden more appointments for presentations. I was like, whoa, what's happening?
Right.
Um, then at the same time, like Boris and Irma were getting like into a sales job, which I'm also currently doing because I was like, I still like I'm at the point of building my TT business, but it's not fully financing my life yet. And I don't want to
Mm.
put that pressure on myself that
Of
I have to
course.
make sales because that's when it gets fucked. Like
Yeah.
if you put pressure, it gets really hard to sell. So, excuse me. So, I started applying for a sales job in promotion, like car insurance, which is everybody in Germany has. It's a no-brainer. You just need to like talk to strangers, get them over, and like sell them on the spot. Like there's not that much of like doing actual presentation. You just like tell them what to do. But in order to do that, you need no doubt and a lot of clarity.
Yeah.
And so through the door knocking and through the process that I've been doing, and I'm still developing that, I'm learning how to do that.
Hmm.
And I'm becoming really good at it. And like Boris, Immer, and me, we're all the three distributors that are selling Techno we are already belong the best in the company.
Mm.
Like Umar had this, like he's in the top 10 of Germany already right now after like his second month. And I'm doing pretty good. Like I'm making like between 4 and 5K a month with like this job. And I'm working like 3, 4 days a week. So it's actually a pretty cool thing. And
Yeah.
through doing this like car insurance thing, I got so much confidence. I was like, whoa. And the more I'm doing it, the more I go also into this like part of like my very masculine energy, because
Mm.
I didn't really know what masculinity means because I was raised by a single mom. So I had a lot of issues that I was working with that where I would always bump into like reality because I had this way of thinking like a woman, but actually reality is like you're a man, you know? So I would be always, oh my God. But now I'm developing all of that, like the
Yeah.
like really getting into it, like directing people, becoming an authority, which led to now in July going to Berlin, selling a friend of mine that I've been working on for 1.5 years. Like since I've been having Technically, I was telling him about it, and he would always find new excuses to not buy it. And I was like, but then I applied the stuff that I've learned from the sales job. And I was just like, we're gonna do this now. Give me your hand. Get you up there. We're gonna do the payment now. And I just directed him through the whole process with like a certainty and a stability. He would always come and he would like, man, I'm so scared. I'm like, you're gonna be fine. And I would even feel it in my voice, how my voice would be so stable that he would have no other choice than actually do what I told him. And when I was telling him, his whole mind consciousness system would go into complete reaction. He would like start coughing, he would be like, oh, I need to breathe. Like, I'm so terrified. Like, what if things go wrong? I would be like, dude, you're fine. Breathe. And then I spoke self-forgiveness for him. I was like, I
Mhm.
forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to be afraid of spending money and all these things. So I made him buy Techniture. We installed it. And now it was like 2 weeks ago. And now I'm talking. He's calling me every day. He's like, man, I made a realization. I'm like, great, awesome. I know I understand what you were talking about. I was like, yeah, there's gonna be more. Like you're just at the beginning, chill.
Right.
The guy is super happy. He spent his last money in Technical. He's so grateful. And he's like,
Mhm.
I'm seeing like now I'm like setting him and becoming a distributor because he wants to do something about the system. And I'm seeing how I actually changed the course of the trajectory of his life because he's
Mhm.
been already 30 years old. He never had a girlfriend. He was super broke. And now I know with certainty, if he keeps doing Technical, within 2 to 3 years, he will fix all of that shit.
Yeah.
Like he will stabilize so much, like you've seen it with the people in the community, right? It doesn't take that long. It feels like it takes a long time because like somehow time, I don't know how you feel, Owen, but for me, time has been distorted a little bit. Like everything, I feel like it's super slow, but actually a lot of things happen in a very short time.
Mhm.
Um, but it's like this whole thing. So
It's like the tool is accelerating your ability to have success,
yes,
you know.
yes, it makes things very clear.
Mhm.
And it's like, so, and I remember like 3 months ago, I was facing this point of like, I felt so bad about myself because I wasn't making any money, to now all of a sudden having a fixed 5K a month. And now also technically sales coming. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Then I sold a lady that I met at the event on cash directly. All of a sudden, I had like 11K on my bank account. I was like, how did that happen? I was like texting everybody was, dude, I'm at 11K this month. Like, what the fuck?
Nice.
And then I was just like using this like as a proof, and everybody like I would get a lot of feedback from my environment, especially like the last 2, 3 months, where people would like actually tell me like, Isaiah, you've changed so much. Like Isaiah, wow, like you're becoming an actual leader.
Yeah.
So I sold him, then I sold her, I sold the other guy, and then like I sold the guy, and like 3 days later. Like 1 day later, I went back home. 3 days later, I met a colleague of mine from school, and she was having this. She was intrigued by me. She was like, "Who's this guy who's walking with all the confidence through school? I want to know what he's up to." And she's going through a breakup. So we met, and I just like asked questions. I listened to her, and I was like, "Hey, I have the solution for you." And even me saying I have the solution for you, you oh, and you can't like you don't but like for a normal person that is not in the process, guys, you can't imagine how hard this is because you feel like a fucking scammer. Like, because we're being told that there is not a solution for things. So if
Mm,
you're the one that's walking around like, I have the solution, like I had so much doubt and fear saying that ever because I was like, people are gonna react so much shit, it's gonna be so stressful. But
mm,
I was just like in all like certainty, like, yeah, I got the solution. And she was like, really? I was like, yeah, sure. Like, it's the way you've been educated when you were a child. Like, we can change it. Like, we have a bunch of people that have been going through the process.
yeah.
And basically, it led to her. I was like, yeah, I can show you tomorrow. So then the next day, she wanted to actually leave because she was going through this whole breakup thing and like going through her like her programs and like how she has to behave in a breakup and like go through the world and find herself and all these things. And I was like, I was working at my sales job and I was calling him. I was like, give me 10 minutes. Drop by, we talk a little bit, and then you can drive, okay? She came by, we went for a walk. I was like, yeah, I was telling her, I don't know what I was saying anymore, but, and she was like, okay, yeah, like I need to call my dad. Like, how can I get the money? I was like, awesome. So then I managed to, I was like, yeah, we can actually start tonight. I managed to invite her to our place. She stayed there for like 2, 3 days. She was doing technical there. She was getting into this whole thing. I was introducing her to everything. And she was like, whoa, this is so cool. This is so amazing. And now she's working with technical there, building herself, going through the breakup. I'm assisting her in that process. And while I was spending time with her, she was actually telling me, Isaiah, wow, you have this like natural way of being a leader, like as if you were born to be a leader. And I was looking at her, I was like, no one ever told me this. Like, what? And inside I was like, yes.
Yeah.
But I was just seeing like, wow, okay, that's all through Techniture. Like, it's
Mm,
just the stability that I've been getting. And now I'm at a point I can just keep focusing on the stuff that I need to do despite of how I feel. And that was something that I was struggling with for such a long time.
mm,
And I'm like, now I'm driving around. I also bought a new, like, in the meantime, I also made my driver's license. I bought a new car, which was also prior to technically a big pain for me. I
mm,
took care of that. Now I'm like a confident driver within a few days. I moved into a bigger apartment. It's my second month. This month, I'm also making about 10K. And I'm like, I have two and three more people that are about to buy Techniture. And I don't have any doubt because I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to sell them. Like, they need it.
mm.
And then wherever I'm going, whenever I meet people, like I'm going to the supermarket, I'm selling the guy in the supermarket. I go to the gym, I talk to the lady that's wounded, and I'm like telling her like how she technically can help her. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, let's talk.
Right.
So I'm applying all the things that I was always afraid of, like just like selling people, because like this process of like actually selling somebody was very stressful for me. And now, like wherever I'm going, I'm like in the car, I'm doing meetings, I'm having 10 things in the back of my mind, but I'm just like able to put them into a folder. And then I put them out in the morning when I do my process, and then I put them back in and deal with it the next day. And it's like this is part of my routine. And at the same time, I'm building my business and I'm focusing on how can I make more money.
Mhm.
And also for me, it's just super fun because I see, whoa, hold on. Like within 3 days, I've made 2 sales. Like that's crazy. Like it took me a whole year to make one sale, and now I'm doing like 2 or 3 days. Like what's going on?
Right.
So this is the whole process that is unfolding right now, and this is like where we are right now. Like
Mhm.
that's where I am right now, and that's why I'm super happy that you're asking me to do this testimonial because I'm like everybody in my mind, everybody needs technical because it makes you learn whatever you were unable to learn. It makes you learn more about yourself, and it makes you see that actually you not living your full potential is a fucking lie and you have to stop believing it.
Mhm.
And by using technology, you can and eventually see it and then you can change it, which is super cool. So yeah, I was not, but now we are.
No, that was perfect, man. That was really good. Honestly, what else can you say? That was really good. It's like you in the beginning uh of our talk we spoke about how you were shared with Tech Tutor with Boris, and what really sold you was seeing his transformation.
Oh yeah.
Now it's like it was cool because like now and then you just kind of sort of explained your own personal transformation throughout this whole
Mhm.
thing. So no, this is really great.
It's so crazy, especially Boris at the time, he was like 20, 19 or 20 or something. No, I
Nice.
think 20. So he was super young. He was
Yeah.
making like, I think 65,000 a year.
Hmm.
He was making more money than most people that work after having been studying. This guy was like 20 years old, you know?
Hmm.
And like also now, like everybody's like telling me, Isaiah, you've changed so much. Like I'm clearly seeing the progress that you've been making. And even I, in the relationship to myself, like, yeah, of course, like every now and then there's doubt. Like, but I'm not seeing it as like a, back then I would go into this like whole possession. I would like, oh my God, I have so much doubt. But now it's just another point. It's just like when doubt comes up, I deal with it and then I keep moving.
Hmm.
And I see that as the more I do this and also the more people I sell, the more I see that actually is sales is very simple.
Hmm.
Building a business is very simple.
Hmm.
But it's just the way we've been educated that makes it very hard for us.
Hmm.
But if we fix all these like messed up definitions that we have within ourselves and all these patterns, then we can make things actually really simple. And then that's when things become natural.
Hmm.
Like the lady that bought Techniture, she was like, "Wow, the way you're talking, the way you're presenting yourself, it sounds so natural. Like you've been having great training." But actually, nobody trained me. I watched just like watching YouTube videos and doing Techniture, you know.
Yeah.
So
Like
yeah,
actually like going out there and actually applying yourself and walking through the fears, that's like the biggest part
yeah,
too, right?
definitely,
So it's
definitely.
like uh when you mentioned that you had like 10K in the bank or like 15K in the bank, like what a massive diff. I just want to comment on this point. What a massive difference from before Destiny and Techno Tutor when
I
you
was
got
broke.
right, when you got that money and then you said you like self-sabotage yourself to like get rid of it basically. But then
Mhm.
after Techno Tutor and Destiny, it was like now you're like actually more stable with it and you're actually able to keep it and you're actually able to build on
Yeah.
top of it, you know. And
Yes.
that's a huge point in terms of people's ability to not only make more money but keep your money and then
Mhm.
build on your money. Yeah, could you touch on
Mhm.
that quickly?
Yeah, it's actually interesting that you're bringing up this point because I had a very strong pattern of like whenever I have money, I just spend it, so
Hmm.
that I put myself into this state of survival again. But now I'm different. I don't buy random shit anymore. Like I just buy the stuff that I need. And like even like because I've been working such an intensive process also on like specifically my self-esteem, I don't need this validation anymore. Like I don't need to get a cool car. Like I got a cheap ass car. Like it's super old and cheap and it's so cool. You know, it's like a VW Polo, like a Volkswagen.
Hmm.
I call it Pablo the Polo. It's super cute. I'm like racing like
Hmm.
and I'm like, wow, this is awesome, this car. Like honestly. And it's like I don't buy clothes anymore. I used to put a lot of money into clothes and like fragrances and all this shit, like so that I can get more girls in this. But like even now, I'm attracting so many women. Like women come to me just resonantly, they feel it and they want to get to know me.
Hmm.
And like also women that would usually be out of my league would actually come to me and like want to get would be interested in me, you know? And this would come up a lot. Also, I feel more confident because I'm like, wow, I actually like I'm not having it's still like from business perspective, it's nothing, right? Like it's no amount of money. But at the same time, like for me, from where I came from, like being super broke, remembering like how I grew up with my mom, three siblings, and she was always worrying about money, and I was like not even asking to get gifts for my birthday because we were so broke. To me, like actually making more money than my family and it's just like I was driving with Boris and there was a Ferrari and I was like looking at the Ferrari and was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna get that in 2 years. But it was not like a yeah, I want to get it, but it was just natural. I was looking, I was like, of course I'm gonna have a Ferrari. And
Hmm.
I was looking at Boris, I was like, whoa, dude, I just had this thought. Like I was looking at this Ferrari. It just was natural to me that I'm gonna get it because I know I'm gonna get better.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna make more money. I'm gonna help more people. I'm gonna build a bigger network and all these things. I'm
Hmm.
gonna build a whole organization eventually.
Hmm.
It's just a question of time. It's not even a if, it's just a question of when. And
Hmm.
I'm so clear on it, like it's just a question of when, that I don't even feel inferior anymore to the people that actually make a bunch of money when I go to business events. Because
Hmm.
I just look at them and I'm like, yeah, of course, like They have been programmed to do that, but I'm gonna be there eventually soon.
Hmm.
So it's okay for me. And this is one aspect. So like just like the natural confidence and the certainty, like even when I'm in doubt, I still have the certainty that I can access. I can access at any time. Like I had the presentation this morning. I was feeling like shit in the morning, but still I was like, yeah, let's go. I put on the mode, bam, 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 bam. I don't know myself like that. I've just been developing this through Techniture.
Hmm.
And also a big topic for me, like that I'm dealing with right now, is like integrating all the vocabulary of like finances. Because in Germany, it's a whole fucking jungle when it comes to taxes and finances. Like there's like 50% tax. Like if you make 100K, you have to give 50% to the government. It's
Hmm.
insane. And
Hmm.
there's like so many roadblocks in Germany that makes it impossible for you to become an entrepreneur. And the statistics are very high. Like most people that start a business in Germany, they fail.
Hmm.
Like I think like 95% or something within the first 5 years. So I know that I'm not going to be part of the 95%. I know that I'm going to be part of the 5%. Like I know this very clearly. And also, like I was looking at this, like because through using Techniture, you just develop some sort of like self-honesty. It just comes automatically. You just cannot unsee the things.
Yeah.
Then you can decide to not face them, but eventually you have to face them. And which is a great thing because it makes you grow if
Hmm.
you want it or not. And I see with this whole topic of finances, because I have never been getting any education on it. Like my mom, whenever it comes to finance, like she asks me for stuff like how this works because she has no fucking clue.
Hmm.
Um, I would feel so terrified when I even think about the word finance. Like in German, it's called Finanzamt. It's like tax office, it's like I was putting the word into TT, I was like, oh, leave me alone. But now I'm like, okay, like I need to educate myself because I need to have this knowledge for the rest of my life. So despite of me having to find a tax accountant, I still need to know this. So
Hmm.
and I feel confident in doing it because I know I can use technical to fill in the gaps of understanding, like to fill in the things that I don't understand and learn all the words that I need to learn so that I can make the things work. And I
Right.
know, like, I'm gonna educate myself now, like, I'm like literally today in this process and like the next weeks and even months probably, and learn how to like deduct taxes so that I have to pay less, how I have to do my tax income declaration, all these things. And I'm seeing how also this makes me more of a man. Like I'm seeing how I'm becoming more the person that is actually able to lead a family, to lead a community, to help people, and where people can rely on me because I have the knowledge and I have the certainty. I have the structure and the stability that everybody's looking for. And I'm seeing this within myself, and I'm like, hold on. I've not been that person. I was very unstable. I was all very dependent. I was dependent on Boris for a long time. But now I'm becoming my own leader. And that's initially the goal that self-perfected Destiny Technical is having to make people realize that they can become their own leaders, that
Hmm.
they can take responsibility for their lives, that they can actually inspire other people. And what I really, really love about our community when I look at the people, especially, also you, Owen, like big props to you. Like looking at your process, fucking amazing, really. Like you going into door knocking, like knocking 300 doors a day and all this crazy shit, and then making two sales out of that, and then keep on moving and moving and moving, and you taking more responsibility. Like I'm watching you from far. Like you live on the other side of the Atlantic, but still I'm watching you. And I'm seeing like how you're being an amazing father, how you're having two amazing children, amazing wife, like man, you're a fucking testimony for the process. Like you're amazing, honestly. And it's like seeing people like you, all the other guys in the group, like where we all started. We were total losers.
Hmm.
Like we were destined to be the trash of society. We were destined to be broke, depressed as motherfuckers that would jerk off all room in their day, all day in the room. But now we're out there building businesses, inspiring people, helping them out, and actually working on a solution for this whole system so that we can stop slavery, abuse, poverty, And it's
Yeah.
like this within just a short amount of time. It's crazy, like honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this process, and I'm like, I need to do more of that. Like I need to share more technical tutor. I need to get more people into this group so that they can actually see with their own eyes and make the experience for themselves. Because honestly, life is too short to be just limited within your pre-programmed
Yeah.
design that you've been getting, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I could just end this video right there, but um, in conclusion, thanks for sharing. That was really great. In conclusion, what would you say, like, have a final message in terms of like younger people that are like, let's just say like they're coming out of school and they're not quite sure what to do or they're not quite sure about life. Like, if you were to give them a message, like, or direction, or like, what would you suggest?
Okay, how am I not gonna make this sound unbiased? They are honestly like they're not even saying this for promotional purpose, but like just by taking you through your starting process. Like there's the one thing that you should do. But other than that, it's like when you come out of school, everybody's lost. Like there's like maybe 1% of people that is not because they've been like educated to not be lost because they come from this like specific family background. But the rest of people just take the best option because they're afraid for the survival and they believe all the bullshit that is being sold by the system. But they're not realizing that the system is actually failing them. And
Mhm.
it's just a matter of time until they will be fucked. And that's for me a point of pain where I'm like, it's actually really bad where we're heading to. But at the same time, I'm also like, awesome, I'm gonna have a lot of customers. So it's like it's a two-way road, you know. And I'm seeing like, especially young men, like if you look at the statistics, like a lot of men commit suicide. A lot
Mhm.
of men are depressed and lonely. A lot of men are porn addicted and they watch like OnlyFans and all these things.
Mhm.
And this needs to stop. And honestly, the only way you can stop this is if you get more clarity through it about yourself, if you educate yourself, if you re-educate yourself, like if you unlearn all the things, like for example, fear of making mistakes and all these things that you've learned in school, and learn the real education that you need. Because with technically we redefine education, like we have to redefine all the words that we've been learning and we have to actually make them make sense so that they work for us, so that they can support us. And to make this sound less technical, spiritual vocabulary like, it's just basically you need to understand more shit. Because if you don't understand who you are, how are you supposed to change anything in this world? How are you supposed to live a life that is worth living if you don't know who you are? And I can only suggest to everybody that's like watching this video, like I'm hoping if there's only one person that is inspired through this video, I'm fucking happy.
Yep.
Um, like you, this person is watching, like you need to understand yourself better. And using Technotutor, using Destiny, reaching out to Owen or other distributors is the best way to do it because I can promise you, you will understand yourself better and you will be able to take responsibility for your lives or for your life and you will be able to make your own decisions, which is what actually everybody wants because that's also how you can create like this feeling of inner peace and purpose. So yeah, think about, so to sum it up very shortly, get clear on who you want to be and like start working on yourself. Reach out for help and we can work on that.
Hmm. Perfect. Alrighty. Thanks for taking the time,
Thank you.
Isaiah. Great stuff. All right. See ya.
See ya.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.